Marisnik type. Very great defensive player, but really struggling with the bat. Brings in a lot of speed. So this might be an interesting get for the Oakland Athletics, especially since the outfield, little by little, they are probably wanting something longer term deal. And I really like the Buddy Reed trade for Jurickson Profar, especially when it came with Austin Allen as well. Great catcher. Not too great defensively, but he is going to give you offensive numbers, and he's a left-handed hitting catcher. So it's going to be very interesting to say the least of what's going to happen with Austin Allen. And probably is going to start the year off in AAA, maybe if I had to take a guess, because the Oakland Athletics also did go for another catcher. I just can't remember off the tip of the tongue, but I know Josh Phegley was let go. Right now it's Sean Murphy. And I want to remember the other catch. Jonah Heim is there. And it's just off the top of the head. This is all natural. Haven't prepared anything. So this is going to be pretty pretty insane of how this happens. But yeah, I mean, I'll remember the catcher in a bit. But other moves going into the Oakland Athletics, they got TJ McFarland, which was a pretty good, it's a pretty decent signing. We did not re-sign Brian Buckner, so we got TJ McFarland to replace him. So a cheaper Buckner, so it's going to be interesting to say the least. The bullpen is going to be probably trusted and hopefully rebound. We lost Blake Trinan. There's expectations that the Oakland Athletics were going to make a reinforcement in the bullpen. So far, TJ McFarland is the lone addition, and Diekman was another person that was brought back. Petit was brought back. So there's still guys that were important last year. Diekman is kind of controversial whether he was important last year or not. But, he's back, and he does have good stuff, does get a lot of strikeouts. But with Oakland, he didn't really have that success with strikeouts than when he was with the Kansas City Royals. I don't know if it was just more pressure into the games. I don't know. But, he's back, and he's said to be a very favorable guy in the Oakland locker room. So he's brought back in now, and it's pretty interesting, to say the least, of who the A's are trusting to bring in for the 2020 season. I don't think there's another one. Oh, Tony Kemp has been brought in to the Oakland Athletics as well. Kemp was traded for Alfonso Rivas. He was in the mid-20 range of top prospects of the top 30 prospect list in the MLB pipeline of 2019. It's not updated yet. 2020 is on the way of being updated, fully updated. You can see the top left-handed pitchers and the top draft picks, I think. Right now, but everything else is not put up yet, is not fully updated. But Rivas, very great hitting catcher. I'm not catcher, first baseman. He's okay. In defensive talks, but he does have a lot of patience at the plate. But here we got a guy in Tony Kemp who can play multiple positions, and he is as good as probably anybody else in stealing bases on the roster, on our active roster. And a lot of people are questioning it, or whether Mateo is going to be kept, just because we added Tony Kemp, who's going to be a free agent until 2023. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to be put into play. I don't know if they're going to just use him and then flip him later on. It is not known yet. So we did lose Brett Anderson as well in the free agency market. He did sign with the Milwaukee Brewers. We also lost Homer Bailey. Even though I'm trying to remember where Homer signed, but Homer signed elsewhere. I remember that. And we did lose Tanner Rourke as well. So it's going to be pretty interesting, to say the least, of what's going to be happening. And, there's going to be a lot of new faces, and a lot of faces that we were expected to see earlier from last season. Jesus Luzardo still in the mix. AJ Puck probably going to be in the bullpen, probably going to ride with 3 left-handed relievers. Who knows? With the expansion of the 26-man roster of 2020, and as said previously, there only can be kept 13 pitchers on the roster for 2020. So that is already been implemented from last year for the Oakland Athletics with the 5 starters and the 8 relievers that they went with. So that is already the 13. So it is going to be another position player being put into play for the Oakland Athletics in 2020. So that's going to make room for Franklin Barreto, who's running out of options, Jorge Mateo, who's running out of options as well. And remember, we also got that one kid from the Cubs in a trade for Jarrell Cotton machine. So he's a second baseman who was picked from the Rule 5 draft. And now it's going to be interesting, to say the least, of what's going to happen with the 2020 season with this many guys that can play second base, which was debatably one of the worst positions that was covered by the Oakland Athletics. And it's going to be pretty interesting to say what is going to happen, what's going to put into play, who's going to perform, who's going to underperform, who's going to overperform. You know, we had great breakouts last season with Mark Canha. We had great breakout seasons with Liam Hendriks, you know, seasons that really just made you feel comfortable in saying these guys are going to be the future of this ball club, or we're going to keep them at least into next year. But, you know, there's some times where people are just get off rhythm and it just doesn't work out, you know, but hopefully these guys can repeat what they did last year. And now with the Houston Astros in the air with the cheating scandal and all this stuff, what is going to be expected off the 2020 season, especially with the AL West, which is becoming way more competitive. Texas is way more competitive with the reinforcements. The Angels are more competitive with the reinforcements. Astros it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do. Seattle, I think, is going to be the only team that's going to be underappreciated. But, you know, let's see what they got. Because Seattle has been a bit quiet this offseason, which is different, especially in the hands of Dipoto. So the AL West is going to be very interesting, as it always is. I think is one of the more entertaining divisions in baseball. But definitely going to see how that comes into play. But for me, that is it. That's all I got. This has all been fresh off the heads. It's been feeling bad that I couldn't make a show as recent as I want to. But definitely here, excited for the 2020 year. Hopefully you guys had a great New Year's and a great time with your families. This is MJ Hernandez, and you guys have been listening to This Is A's Weekly, part of the Baseball Podcast Network. I appreciate you guys so much for waiting, and hopefully you guys do appreciate this episode. You guys can follow me on Instagram as well under Athletics Dynasty. Hopefully you guys like everything that's been going on and everything I've been saying. I do go live every once in a while, so hopefully you guys can tune in and follow me on Athletics Dynasty as I'm making my comeback in February 15th. It's already been official, so thank you guys for everything, and this is A's Weekly.